Namaskar. Concertina wires, roads being dug up, spikes on the road. All of this to stop farmers from entering their national capital. All of this for farmers to stop farmers from entering Delhi. The question I want to ask tonight is, are we in war with our farmers? Where are we heading with this? That's my topic number one. My topic number two is, why is Indo-American relationship important for India and as important for America? Let's discuss that in detail. Let's get right into the show. Concertina wires. You know what are concertina wires? They are not barbed wires. Concertina wires, my apologies, are wires which has got these sharp edges like knives, like blades. If you push a person to concertina wires, that person may die if he gets entangled, if he or she gets entangled. That's concertina wires. You know why they are used? They are used to stop infiltrators, terrorists from coming into our country. They are used to stop enemy from coming into our country. That is why they are used. And they've been used in Delhi to stop our farmers from entering their state capital, which is Delhi. Roads are dug, concrete digs, concrete pits have been made, barricadings, spikes to stop vehicles from coming inside. All this for what? Not for an enemy country. Not for somebody who is infiltrating or who's coming into our country. No, it's not for enemy country. It's for our own people. It's for our farmers. The Jai Kisan, Jai Jawan, remember? It is for the Kisans, to stop them from coming into the national capital. Our Prime Minister a few days back had said that, I'm just a phone call away. I felt good. I said, yeah, good. That's the way. And after that, his police is stopping them from coming to the national capital. You told them they could call you, right? You told them. Achha, why are these people being stopped? A lot of media, I don't know whatever to call them, those media people, they say that it is for, how can they enter? It is causing a lot of problems in Delhi. So the police is doing their job. The police is doing their job. I will come to the police part of it. But let me answer the first question. You see, India against corruption, when those people came in Delhi in lakhs, maybe much more numbers than what we are seeing today, didn't that harm the peace and quiet of Delhi? When that yoga Guru, Mr. Ramdev Baba, had come and done his protest in Delhi, didn't that harm the peace of Delhi? From 1947, how many protests have happened in Delhi? Delhi is the national capital. Delhi is where the Prime Minister of India sits. Delhi is where the President of India sits. Delhi is the power center of capital, power center of our country, my apologies. So normally, protests do happen in Delhi. It is normal. Now let me answer the question number two. Are police not people? Don't they get hurt? They were hurt. They were beaten. They were stabbed even. So, aren't they people? Wouldn't they want to protect themselves? Of course they will have to. Of course they have to. And unfortunately or fortunately, what the government needs to understand, which they are not understanding, is that the duty of protecting both the police and the farmer is on the government. The government has to ensure that the police and the farmer has to be protected, and it is the government that is now pitting the police with the farmers. It is the government that is pitting the police with the farmers. The farmer has no animosity with the police, nor the police with the farmers. Right from the day one, it has been managed wrong. When the farmers were coming to Delhi, they were greeted with air cannons, water cannons and tear gases. You saw barricadings. You saw roadblocks. You saw road dug. They were treated with that. So it started from there. That is when you started pitting the police with the farmers. What the farmers did on 26th January is not justified at all. No violence can ever be justified. What they did to the police is absolutely wrong. But that being said, who caused it? Why was this protest not nipped in the bud when it started in September in Punjab? Who refused to talk? Who put their ego before the actual resolution of the problem? So when the issue becomes larger, you can't say that the police, were hit and, the police were harmed. And yes, police was harmed, and possibly whose mistake? The issue is management is the job of the government. This is a management flaw. What you are seeing is the result of a management flaw, which is something that we need to be very clear about. If I can't negotiate with my own people, I can't convince my own people, then I may need to change myself. That's what management says. I can't go take a lathi and go hit my people and say, "Jo main bolta aisa karo." It can't. That's dictatorship. That's different. This is democracy. This is different. This is different. Maybe we got all mixed up, but no, this is different. So the fact remains that somewhere down the line, stop vilifying the farmers always. Stop vilifying the farmers, because somewhere down the line, we pushed them to where they are today. What they are doing today is because we pushed them there. We refused to hear them. We disregarded their problem. We almost acted like an ostrich, where we said these problems do not exist. They are all made up. This is all infiltration. This is all political gimmickry. We refuse to even actually see the problem. And somewhere down the line, a lot of our media people, other than talking facts, other than understanding facts, started just blaming the farmers sitting out there. You see, I'll tell you, I'll try and reason out on this one. Those farmers, they are people like you and me. They've got family. They've got a stomach. And most of them are responsible to bring food on the table for their family. Most of them are responsible. Yet they are protesting there. Yet they are there to fight for what they believe is going to be wrong done to them. Think for a minute from their perspective. Do you think that somebody will risk their family, their livelihood and everything and sit in Delhi just because they are getting pizza? Just because they are getting dry fruits? Just because they are kind of enjoying what's happening to them? Think about it. And then form your opinion. What I'm going to say now may not be a very textbook definition of international relationship. It may not be a textbook definition. But somewhere I think we're still viewing international relationship from a 100-year-old perspective. We're still viewing the international relationship in that perspective. What happens when Biden calls up India? Oh, Biden called up India. What does the call from America actually mean to India? Oh, what is it going to open up? What is it going to close? What doors are it going to open up? Does it mean that we are in favor of America, or America is in favor of India, or it is not? See, we still are in all of those thoughts, those understandings. You see, whenever you ask somebody, especially whenever I have met geopolitical experts, and I've met a few of them, the thing is, whenever you talk about international relationships, they say, "Arey, wo kya hai na?" See, America, China, to keep a check on China, it is very important that, India has to be, in their friend list. If India is not in their friend list, they'll have a problem to keep a check in China, Baba. So is it important to have Pakistan in their friend list. So is it important to have, Australia in their friend list, and so on and so forth. Everything is viewed from the way things were, the way history was, the way the relationship was 30 years back, 40 years back, 50 years back. Are they wrong? They are not. They're absolutely not wrong. They're right. What I am trying to add here is a new perspective. The perspective which has emerged in the last 10 years, but nobody seems to be giving it impetus, and that perspective is trade, economics, markets. I remember when we were young marketeers, young in our jobs, young, when we had international conferences and we had international seminars and all of that, we used to get some small, penultimate day ka chai ke pehle 15 minute, we used to get for India to come and present our market, our strategies, what we have done, and so on and so forth. But after 2005, 2007, 2010, India was possibly the most popular presentation. Indian market is something that every second person in that seminar wanted to come and listen to. Because Indian market, they would see with an awe and say, "Look, this is the damn market." We were huge. When you talk about American relationship or relationship with any country for that matter of fact, I think the impetus now should be given to the fact that forget China, China and all that, that relationship and this relationship and this pass and that pass and this bypass, all these, what these geopolitical guys say. What is also important is the damn market we have. If America takes Katti with us, do you know what is going to happen to Microsoft? Do you know what's going to happen to Pepsi? Do you know what is going to happen to Coke? Do you know what's going to happen to Facebook? Do you know what's going to happen to Twitter? Do you know what's going to happen to Google? Do you know what's going to happen to Apple phones? You think these companies are going to tell American president, "ठीक है यार, जान दे यार, we lost a big market. हम थोड़ा हमारा profitability 50% down हो गया, market 50% down हो गया, production 50% down हो गया, but ठीक है वो." They are going to go and sit on the head of the American president and say, "भाई market गया यार." Somewhere down the line, it is imperative that we understand our biggest strength, apart from the fact that, we can help them to compete with China and all of that. Apart from all this, the biggest strength is our markets. If we keep our markets open for them, they have to be friends with us. Because if they are not, what they lose is their economy. And the only thing that America thrives on is their economy, and that's exactly what they will lose. So the fact remains that diplomacy should also have markets as a very vital point for negotiation. I don't know how much of that is used currently. So, other than saying, "Arey, Biden ne phone kiya, so what are the ramifications now? Oh, Biden called him first and he spoke to him for 16 minutes, 32 seconds, but he spoke to Australia and spoke only for 14 minutes and 12 seconds, but he didn't speak to India at all." What it means doesn't matter. Doesn't matter till we have a fabulous market. Till we have a fabulous market. And all those symbolism that we saw, not required. Not required. We need to be professionals. We need to be professionals, and with Biden government, Biden on the seat, I don't think he's going to hold hands and do events in United States with our premier. I don't think he's going to do that. But what he's going to do and what we have to do is to be professional. Before we talk, let our markets talk, and then we go and talk. See the difference in the negotiation. Somewhere down the line, the small point that I wanted to raise in my editorial today is give market a chance now. Give our markets a chance to talk. Then we talk diplomacy. Possibly, markets may talk better than our diplomats. Till I see you next time. Namaskar.